once again for the renegade master. Back 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 once again for the renegade master.
Hello, my little renegades, and we are back. And what are we back to? The ultimatum queer love, and we are now on episode 5. So I hope everybody's all caught up from the last episodes. As we know, they've split off in their groups, had their little like drinks with each other, and things kind of popped off. So now they've all come back, and each and every one of them is talking about what happened on a night out and this, that, and the other. Now my thing is I don't know if Yoli and Vanessa are literally like in cahoots with, in terms of seeing who can bag the other partner the most, because they were just doing way too much in their explanations. We got Yoli, who was explaining to Xander what happened on the night, then saying, oh, there's certain things that were said that I can't tell you. Who does that? Who does that? Don't, if there's information that you've got that you know will make the other person feel like shit, yeah, unless they're your best mate, like proper best mate, why are you telling them for? Just keep your mouth shut on a night out. Just talk about other things. Say, oh, it went like this or it went like that. Don't go into depth in the conversations. And then on the other hand, you got Vanessa, who's lying through her teeth in regards to what Lexi asked her and what Lexi actually said. So Yoli's there basically telling Xander that, you know, things came up that she shouldn't really say, since she got Xander looking all damn worried, right? And she was like, well, I think you and Vanessa need to have that conversation. Well, she and Vanessa can't have that conversation right now. You and Xander is having that conversation right now, so you might as well just give Xander the information that you got, because at the end of the day, you're just sitting there making her fucking worry about what the hell was said and what was done. So basically, in terms of what was said, she basically told Xander that Vanessa and Ray had sex. Ray's face did drop, like it drop. And I'm kind of like, but I know you're going to feel a type of way, but then saying that on the flip side, you and Yoli have been getting it in pretty good, to be fair. Like, getting it in pretty good, more than bloody once, more than bloody twice, you know what I mean? We saw you the first time and the second time. To be fair, you've been getting it in at the end of the day. So if Vanessa's had that experience with Ray, then to be fair, she can't really get too miffed about it, because at the end of the day, you didn't tell Mal that you and Yoli were getting it in. You felt rather uncomfortable on that night, to be fair. But as I said, Vanessa is one of them people where she will literally jump that information, because as I said, she likes the conversation to be focused on herself and be about herself and how she's feeling and what she's doing. And I've already said that Vanessa's a little fire starter, so she's a little antagonist, so she'll throw little gems here, there and everywhere, because she probably knew that Yoli would go back and tell Xander. Let's just put plain as plain. She probably knew Yoli would go back and tell Xander, or that bit of information will get back to Xander at some point, because Vanessa is all about the game playing. So we go on to, as I said, Ray and Vanessa, and they talk about the night. And basically Vanessa lied in regards to what she was regurgitating back to Ray. Basically saying that, you know, Lexi said it so vulgar that, you know, you put your fingers inside my girlfriend and all yada yada yada, and the conversation did not go like that. But my thing is neither one of them two actually accept any responsibility for how Lexi is feeling at all. I mean, at all. And Ray is well aware of what Vanessa is like, because people have told her, and she's starting to see little tidbits of what people have told her. But she didn't take what Vanessa said, that Lexi supposedly said, into any type of context, or take it with a pinch of salt, and maybe think, well, Vanessa could be embellishing on this situation because she wants to blow mine and Lexi's relationship wide open. She didn't think that way at all. She literally just jumped on the bandwagon. So we go to Mal and Lexi, and Mal is literally telling Lexi that she has to let it go. I hear what Mal's saying, but when it comes to something like that, especially when you stay true to yourself and to your relationship with the partner that you went in with and didn't instigate anything, say in a romantic sense or in a sexual sense, then it's kind of going to burn. It's going to hurt. But you let me know what you think, because I think that kind of shit is going to burn and it's going to hurt, especially when you haven't committed to the process like that, the way in which Vanessa and Ray have, and the way in which Yoli and Xander have, especially with the whole sexual aspect of all of that. We go to Ossie and Mildred speaking to Ossie basically about taking the advice from Sam in regards to how to deal with Ossie. And then, as again, Ossie is a motherfucking track star. I ain't even playing. This woman will shut down mid-conversation and literally look everywhere but at the person she's supposed to be speaking to. And I find Ossie to be quite rude. And as time goes on, we kind of get to understand where this attitude and how she shuts down and stuff like that comes from. But as I'm saying already from now, and as I said in the last one, Ossie needs some really strong therapy to deal with the issues and the trauma that she holds on to make her react in the way that she reacts, because her reactions are out of proportion. Because as I said, any little disagreement or any negativity coming her way, she automatically shuts down and sees it as conflict and sees it as a confrontation, and she don't want it. And then that in turn makes her literally put on her motherfucking trainers and run out the motherfucking door. And my thing is if you are married, there's going to be issues that come up that you have to deal with that you're not going to like. What is she going to do? Keep running from the situation? Because I tell you what, you might as well run yourself into a divorce court, because that's where it's going to end up, to be fair. Then we see, after the disagreement and after Ossie's clicked out of her conversation with Mildred, the next day, Mildred's literally gone to walk her dog. Why does Ossie come back in the flat and start packing up her stuff? I thought that is a fucking dog move right there. That was a cold move right there, to literally wait for someone not to be there, to go back in, pack your stuff up, and then not even sit there and give her the time in which to come back and sit there and tell her face to face while you're leaving. You say it in a note. You leave her in a note. Now, this is why I say she should not get married. Ossie should not be thinking about getting married. If that's how you're going to deal with your situations and your disputes, that's not on, man. That is so not on. That was just, it was all the audacity that you wait until Mildred's not in the flat to come back, pack your stuff and write her a note, then leave. That's fucked up. That is fucked up. And I don't know what you think about that behaviour, but in my estimations, I'm sorry, I would be searching you down to say, can we have a conversation, rather than you just leaving and making me feel like shit because you can't deal with a little bit of conflict. I was just like, wow. That's why I say Ossie should not be thinking about getting married, and I think Sam should basically be a track star herself and run far and wide from Ossie. I know she loves Ossie and she has those feelings for Ossie, but Ossie needs to really work on herself, like proper work on herself. But as again, you let me know what you think, but that was the take that I was taking in regards to that. So then you see Mildred comes back with her dog. She reads the note, then looks around, and then realizes that Ossie's gone. At first, she gets irate with little things that Ossie should have done but didn't do. And then you see her literally flip and become very tearful and start crying because of the fact that she was abandoned by her mum when she was younger. Her dad has left her, and all sorts of other close people have left her. So what Ossie did literally triggered Mildred completely, like triggered her completely, and all those memories and feelings came flooding back. And this is why I say that Ossie should not even be thinking about marriage. Ossie shouldn't even be thinking about a long-term relationship, to be fair, because at the end of the day, in regards to emotional availability, she's not available for that person. She's supposed to be steadfast and love, basically. She's not emotionally available. She's not emotionally mature either, and she's very vulnerable, to be fair. And this is why I say that she needs to do work on herself, and also needs to take up with a therapist. Completely needs to take up with a therapist, because how she moves and engages and reacts within a relationship is just not the one. It ain't the one. So we go back to Yoli and Xander, and they actually go and meet Xander's friend, Xander's best friend, that they've known each other from kids, from children. And overall it was a good visit. And overall, Xander's friend basically said that Xander's doesn't just love Yoli, she's in love with Yoli. Basically, she could see that. And she also said, in regards to Vanessa, that the situation with Vanessa is when she can't deal with something, or something pops off, or something's happening, Vanessa acts up. She said Vanessa acts up and puts on a show, and then it becomes all about me. And I felt validated. I felt so validated with that statement, because it's exactly what I've been saying about Vanessa from the get-go. And that, and use if you've seen that part, I want to know how you felt. Like, what was your first true feelings in regards to Vanessa from the first bit, if you've watched it, to now, and how she's behaving? Because I seriously don't think Vanessa is ready for marriage either. I don't think she's ready for marriage. And if she was, I really don't think it's going to be with Yoli, because she don't Xander, I mean, because she don't respect Xander in any way, shape or form. She does not respect Xander in any way, shape or form. And the fact that Xander's friend said what she said in regards to Vanessa, and the fact that she really likes Yoli, should tell Xander something. Like, literally tell Xander something, and open up Xander's eyes to the person that Vanessa is. Because I think Vanessa knows how to play Xander like a fiddle. She's had 4 years. They've had 4 years together. But at the moment as well, I think Yoli is unlocking a little bit of the unseen Xander to people as well. So we shall see how that plays out too, shall we? Yes, we shall. Then it goes on to Tiff and Sam, and they're getting on really well now. Like, they're laughy, they're giggly, they say a lot of jokes, and it seems to have been leveled out, and Tiff is becoming a good communicator as well. And I think that is as well because of the fact that I don't think Tiff is sexually attracted to Sam. So the sexual part of it is completely off the table. So all Tiff has really is to communicate and try and communicate well with Sam. And Sam is a good communicator when she wants to be, but then also Sam is learning from Tiff to be more confident in allowing her voice to be heard, to be more forthright in things that don't make her happy, to be able to share those that don't make her happy, and pick up on bad behaviours as well. And I think them two are learning from each other, which is what the experiment is about, and learning, well, what is it that I can take back into my relationship when I go back with the partner that I came with. Goes back to Lexi and Mal, and they both meet Lexi's parents, and it was nice to see that Lexi's mom took the forefront, like, with the conversation, and Dad just sat back and let it all happen. But if you notice very carefully, although Dad didn't say much, everything was shown on his face, like, properly. He was communicating non-verbally. And so I was watching little tidbits that he was picking up, And then it was a case of the fact that, you know what, he threw out a little gem at the end of the day. And Lexi, you could see, has a good relationship with her parents, and Mal did fit into that combination pretty well in the way that she spoke, in the way that she spoke to the parents, in the way that she was handling herself in that whole conversation. She didn't shy away from issues. She was very respectful, and they respected her too. I do think at times that Lexi can be a bit overpowering, because when she gets in the mindset of, I know what I want and I know what I don't want, and if something happens in regards to what she doesn't want, she's very vocal in saying that. But sometimes I think Lexi needs to kind of take a step back and allow the person the other space to speak, because when she's spoken to Ray, that's what I've seen her do. And then that may cause Ray to literally take a stand back and just shut up and be quiet, because she doesn't feel that she's being heard in that space at all. But as again, yous lot, let me know what you think. But that, as again, as I keep saying, that's my takeaway and my opinion in regards to how I've seen things during this episode. So then it goes on to Ray and Vanessa, and Ray and Vanessa meet Vanessa's dad. He's just like, Vanessa's a carbon copy of her father, basically, especially when it comes to views around marriage and relationships. And I was like, light bulb moment. This is where she gets some of her views in regards to marriage and life in general from. You can tell she's got a good relationship with her dad. You can tell that she respects what her dad says. But I would say up to a point. If it's in line with what she's thinking and feeling, then she will respect what her dad says. But if it isn't, there will be knockback if it isn't at all. Basically, still at that meal with her dad, she was saying that she still didn't really want to get married. And basically her dad did drop a gem in terms of saying to both of them that their partners are like 100% in. They are 100% in because they've asked you to get married. So it isn't a case of that they're just flinging this I want to get married thing out. No, they're 100% assured of you as a person, that you're the person that they want to spend their life with. And that's something that I think gave cause for Vanessa, for Ray, and especially Vanessa, to think about, because I don't think Vanessa thought about it in that way before, because after that she went completely quiet, and you could see on her face that, you know, those little wheels, those cogs were turning. So yeah, she was thinking about what her next move may be. So then we move on to Yoli and Xander. We're back to Yoli and Xander again. And it's literally, they can't stop touching each other. Xander's telling her that she likes the fact that with Yoli it's fun, it's stable, it's calm, and she has peace within herself. But I'm saying, but this is only 3 weeks with Yoli, so basically you ain't seen all of Yoli in that sense. So it's like with all of them, they ain't seen all of that person in 3 weeks. Some of them have, or see, yeah, some of them have seen the other people that they are with within that 3 weeks, the other sides to them, but some of them haven't. So it's still very much the honeymoon period. But I think when Xander gets back with Vanessa, that's when either shit's gonna hit the fan, or it's gonna be a freaking gauntlet of emotions going on there, because I think Vanessa's literally going to claw her way back to where she was in regards to her relationship with Xander, because I'm telling you, Vanessa wants the ability to have someone there as a safety net for her, someone there, but be able to go and do what she wants to do outside of that relationship. But she wants that with the acceptance of the partner that's there with her, or she can manipulate the partner into accepting that part of her. I don't know how far she'll get with Xander, but we shall see. We go back to Mal and Lexi, and now Lexi is meeting Mal's best friend. They're explaining the whole process to her, and basically the friend is saying, because Lexi is so self-assured, whereas Mal was so self-assured when it was just her and Lexi's talking, but her attitude kind of changed when it was Lexi and her best friend there, because the best friend was saying, well, how do you compare between a 3 to 4 year relationship and only 3 weeks with this person? They talked about Lexi's age and stuff like that, and basically the friend said that it is a cute little red flag and Yoli is her homie. Now remember those words that the friend said, that Yoli is her homie. So she was literally going to bat for Yoli, and said to Mal, basically, so if Yoli came in here now and said, forget everything else, let's do it, let's go, let's get married, what would you say? And Mal's first words were, oh, there would be a lot to talk about. Basically, there would be a lot to talk about in order for us to get where we need to be in that sense. But with Mal, did say to Lexi when they were on their own that, you know, she could move the goalposts if she was with someone like Lexi, but she wasn't putting Lexi first in that point, because at the end of the day, Mal loves Yoli, loves Yoli. So I don't know if this was Mal being nice and giving Lexi what she wants to hear, or whether it was actually Mal's true feelings when she was speaking to Lexi on her own. And it's as the friend said, Mal is a kind and lovable person to everybody. And, you know, some women or some girls that Mal meets may take that kindness and that lovability to a different realm, where they're thinking that, you know, Mal is feeling me when actually she's not. And that's where the communication gets misconstrued, because Mal is definitely all about Yoli, and that's what her friend was saying. So we go to Tiff and Sam, and Sam is meeting Tiff's friend. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I like Tiff's friend. I really do like Tiff's friend. She don't cut around the bush. She don't talk no bullshit. She's a straight shooter, but she's polite with it in that sense. Like, she thinks of other ways in which Tiff can communicate, in which Sam can communicate with her. And basically she's telling Tiff that, you know, her relationship with Mildred is rocky. It's rocky and toxic. It really is. And as I said, the only way that Tiff and Mildred communicate is through sex. They don't literally sit down and have a proper conversation. But if they were to sit down and have a proper conversation, it's usually one person then getting agitated with that other person, and then building their agitation up, and then they're constantly at each other's necks, to the point where Mildred's telling her to just literally leave. And that's like every other week, which isn't good for a relationship. And as I said, they've only been together for 2 years, and I would say that those 2 years, they're still in the get to know you phase, and whether their relationship is going to work out for the best, because I think Tiff is afraid of getting married and it only leading to divorce, and that's what she doesn't want at the end of the day. I don't think Tiff and Mildred are at a point where they can truly say, oh yes, I want to get married, I want to get walk down the aisle with you, I want to be engaged. I think they have other issues, like with some of the other couples, they have other issues that they literally need to work on. But as again, I will say, let me know what you lot think in the comments. Don't be afraid to speak. Put it down, whatever you're thinking. There's no wrong or right answer to this. This is us just sharing our thoughts at the end of the day. So Tiff does sing Sam's praises a lot, like how they get on, how they communicate with each other, and how different it is from being with Mildred. So the friend just asks them if they're, like, you know, having sex or being intimate, and Tiff has basically said, well, no, we're not at all. And as I said, I don't think that Tiff is attracted to Sam in that way, and that's why she hasn't exerted herself in regards to the touching or the kissing, or even coming up to the hooking up, because it seems that everybody's hooking up at some point. And basically her friend said, well, all you have to do, he said, just hold a hand. And Tiff would not hold Sam's hand. And then she took Sam's hand and held it and said, yeah. And then Tiff's first reaction was, but what's the use in doing it if there's no sex in it? And that's the problem. That's the problem. You're going straight to sex and leaving out everything else. Because the touch doesn't have to be sexual. It doesn't have to be sexual. Creating intimacy doesn't have to be sexual. There's different ways in which you create intimacy. And I think that's something that Tiff is going to learn along the way, especially with someone like Sam. And Sam has basically put it out the bag and said that, you know, if she was to like come onto her or try anything with her, Sam would not push her away. You get Xander, then it moves to Xander and Yoli on the beach. And then you get, you know, Xander tells Yoli to close her eyes, which she does. And then she brings out a great big ring pop. And I'm just like, at this point, I'm kind of thinking, are you really that into Yoli, Xander? Like, really, are you really that into Yoli? Because at that point, I'm just like, I don't know where Xander's headspace is at, to be fair. Because I'm questioning. I'm questioning Xander. At that point, I was definitely questioning Xander and her motives and what she's doing and what she's up to. Because I think Yoli's unlocked her like inner fuckboy, to be fair. Because I don't think she was probably like that before. I don't think she would reckon that she would have connected with someone in there, but she has, and she is giving it her all. But then I'm kind of like, what is actual truth and what is kind of make believe at this stage? That's where my thoughts went to when she pulled that stunt, and that's what I'll call it, a stunt. And everybody else would probably say, oh, but it was so romantic, but it was nah, not really. It wasn't really romantic to me. Nah. But you can let me know what you think, but that's what I think. It wasn't romantic to me. So you can tell that if anyone was to pull that on me, I'll be just like, oh, sweetie, and just love the thing in my mouth, because yeah, it's been done. So yeah, nah. So it's the last night of their trial marriages. So everybody, all the couples that are together at the moment, are reflecting on how their marriages have been, whether the fact that they'll miss them when they leave, and how things may be when they go back. Basically, Ray's feeling a lot of anxiety and going back to Lexi, especially with the whole situation that happened with Vanessa, which we know, the sex gate that happened with Vanessa. So across these ones, we've had dog gate, now we've had sex gate, and as I said, I called her Voldemort Vanessa, which I kind of stopped doing part way in between, but that's still in my mind. It's still in my mind for Voldemort Vanessa. But yeah, and then you got Lexi going a little bit serious with Mal in terms of like telling her that, you know, Mal's one of her soulmates, and Mal didn't know exactly what to say to that at all, because I think Mal's literally gone into her own headspace now of what the hell am I going to be greeted with when Yoli comes back. I think she started to pull away a little bit from Lexi, because she was starting to mentally prepare herself, one, to say bye to Lexi because she's got to go back to Ray, and two, to prepare herself in terms of where things are at with Yoli, in terms of how Yoli's relationship kind of started to blossom with Xander. But we have to remember at this point, Mal still doesn't know that Yoli is literally in love with Xander, and they consummated their trial marriage many times. So Mal is none the wiser in that sense. So it literally is going to be like a grenade being thrown into that relationship if Yoli does tell her exactly what she's thinking and feeling at that point. Because I see Mal as kind of like a spiritual person and quite open. and she very much listens and very much gives her good advice as well. She doesn't judge people, and she takes the time in which to process any type of information that's given to her. So again, we'll have to see how that works out. And that was something coming through my front door, loud as hell, but hey ho, there you go. And then you've got Xander, who says that she feels that she's the right person for Yoli. Again, I'm just like, really? Are you just telling Yoli what she wants to hear because you know Yoli's that into you? Because my thing is Yoli spoke about her relationship with Mal and how she felt the issues where it was failing and the negatives in regards to Mal. But I didn't really hear Xander say anything about the issues within her relationship with Vanessa and how Vanessa behaves within that relationship at all. I mean, Yoli gave this and I think Xander gave that. She did not meet Yoli in any way, shape or form. And yes, I'm slapping my own hands because I'm putting the message across here in terms of how I'm thinking and feeling about this. But as I said, we will see the differences when they go back with their actual partners for the last 3 weeks before they then get into the ultimatum. But I shall say this is where I'll end talking about this episode right now. But as I always say, my renegades, subscribe, put your notifications on, like and comment, and I will see you soon with episode 6. Peace out.